Are we on? Are we on? Okay. Not really sure why I was asked to do this, but I was asked to make a video for a surprise 70th birthday party for for, um, for Mark Davis. Oh yeah, I remember that guy. We're going to call this little video Mark and Rick's Excellent Adventure. And we have had a lot of adventures through the years, lots and lots of stories. And I'm going to tell you about those stories. Wait a minute, wait. Is Jan in the room? Oh yeah, hey Jan, how you doing? Good to see you, I haven't seen you for a while. But as I was saying, Mark and I never really did much. I don't know much, I have no stories to tell. And when Jan leaves the room, I can tell you a whole bunch of stories. Where to begin? Where to begin? When I thought about putting this together, I started making some notes, like what stories would I talk about? And these are not the stories. These are just the notes I made to remind me about what stories I could tell. I'm not done yet. Yeah. Another page. And I know there are a lot more stories than I'm including here, but it's a start. Mark and I go way back. We met at OSU Lima. I started fall of 71. I don't think we actually met until 72. But I was well aware of Mark because Mark and Randy Schock, many of you know Randy Schock, used to play guitar and sing in the Commons, and I was like really blown away by Randy's talent. And then Mark was there too. But man, Randy was really something. Mark was okay. But when Mark and I actually met each other and started interacting, I think we met in a Spanish class, or it might have been biology. I think we had those two classes together at OSU Lima. And we were sort of drawn together by a mutual love of tennis, our mutual love of sports cars, our mutual love of studying crime and criminals, our mutual love of music, our mutual love of writing, and just our mutual love. Nothing comes after that. It was just our mutual love. Sorry, Jen. Some of this is going to be painful, I know. Now on to the excellent adventures. I'll start off by saying with one night stories, meaning like one night this happened, one night this happened, so on. I remember one night Mark and I and a guy named Tony Taylor, a friend of mine from Indian Lake, we went out on the town, and going out on the town back then always meant involved beer. And so we were downtown Columbus and had probably more than we should have had, and we were just walking around, and Tony and I were always the adventurous type, and Mark was always the lookout type, but you need a lookout. And we were walking around downtown, and we saw right downtown this gigantic billboard all lit up. Any cop within a mile could have spotted us, but Tony and I decided to climb the billboard. And Mark, he wanted to go first, and he wanted to keep us on the ground, but he finally agreed to stay on the ground and be the lookout. And Tony and I climbed up this billboard downtown Columbus, and we'd have probably gotten 30 days had we been picked up. And Mark was, I don't know if he was working for the Governor's Office of Criminal Justice Services at that point, or was a probation officer or whatever, but he would have been in big trouble even for just being the lookout. But we did that one night. Another one night story. Tony was on this one too. Mark and I and Tony were downtown walking around, and beer was involved, I'm sure. And we were walking across East Main Street, minding our own business, and these three, we'll call them ladies of the evening, were walking towards us, and we weren't even really looking at them. And they pretty much propositioned us and accosted us and stopped us right in the middle of Main Street. And Jan, it was all platonic, I swear. It was actually it was kind of scary encounter for us because um, they were professionals, and we just wanted to go across the street. But anyway, that was the one night we were accosted by ladies of the evening on East Main. Um, Another one night story. Um, One night, well, Tony was involved again. Mark and I and Tony were driving around, and if we were driving, we had not had any beer. I mean, I was driving, so you know I didn't have any beer at that point. We only drank and walked. But anyway, we were on west side of town, kind of rough side of town at times, and I had my Pontiac Catalina. I was driving, and Mark and Tony were in the car, and we see this group of people, two groups of people up ahead on our left. And as we get closer, you see one group of people, they're all white guys, and on the other corner is a bunch of black guys, and they're yelling at each other and everything as we're approaching, driving up on the car, and we see this on the street, and we see all this over on the sidewalk, these two groups of very angry people yelling at each other. And just as we get up on them, where they're right beside us, kaboom! Shotgun blast. And it was loud and it was close. Fortunately, not aimed at us. So a normal person would have floored it and gotten the heck out of there, but I've never been normal, so I go down to the first street or first parking lot, do a U-turn, drive back to see what's going on. They're saying, no, 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 he's got a shotgun. But when we got back, they were pretty much scattered, and we didn't see anyone on the ground, so I don't think anyone was hurt, but I'm sure they were scared, and it was a little unsettling to us. So that was another one night we did this. I'll give you another one night we did this, and another one night that involved Tony Taylor, our friend Tony Taylor. Mark and I and Tony were downtown, and I'm ashamed to tell this story a little bit. I'm more woke now, and I wouldn't do that sort of thing now, but give me a pass because it was going on 50 years ago, 45 years ago, whatever. But anyway, we were downtown, beer had been involved, and we decided to stop in this bar downtown that we had never been to, and we walk in, three of us, Mark and I and Tony, and get in there, we're looking around, and it took a while. Well, not too long, but we realized we were in the middle of a gay bar. and not being big burly guys, they probably looked at us as three gay guys in there. And Tony and I always wondered about Mark anyway, so that, maybe one of us. But so we're sitting there. I think we had ordered beer. We're standing there, sitting there, I don't remember, looking around like, what are we going to do? And all of a sudden, there's this big commotion, and there's this guy on the floor, and he's having a seizure. I mean, he's like full blown. It's scary, shaking. And so we're watching this, like, what is going on? And the squad comes into the bar, and they're attending to him and everything. I take him out, and we're watching all this and drinking our beer. And then we decide it's time to leave. It wasn't really a place for us. So, they wanted to leave quietly, and I didn't. And so on the way out, I get into a fake gay argument with my boyfriend Mark, and I'm being really obnoxious and gay stereotypes, which I'm sorry to admit now, and then I was blowing him kisses as he's leading me out of there, trying to get me out of there, and we had people looking at us at that point. But that's another one of our one night we did this story. But now here's the kicker. The billboard. The ladies of the evening on East Main Street. The gang fight with the shotgun blast. And the gay bar episode all happened in the same night. Seriously. Okay. this is kind of difficult because I don't have a feel for the room. You're all sitting there like, man, this is not funny, or man, this is really funny. So I don't know. So I could go 2 hours of this, and that's running the chance that you're all off watching a movie or something, and I'm just rattling on and on. And there's nobody even listening. So I will assume that this is not as funny as I think it is, and I won't go on for hours and hours because I could, but I won't. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to throw a bunch of things out there. I may elaborate a little bit on some of them, but most of them, they'll just be a few words, sometimes one word, little snippets of stories. And if there's something you really want to know about, hey, the guy's right there, just ask. That way you don't have to listen to me rattle on and on and on and on, which again, I could do. So I'm just going to read this to you. I actually bought a teleprompter program. Heather, Stephanie, I'll bill you for that later. I really did. I bought a teleprompter program, and I was going to put all this stuff on a little teleprompter. I'm looking at you now, and teleprompter's over there, and I got my microphone, and this is going to be real professional. And then it's like, I'm not a professional. So I'm just gonna kind of read some of this stuff. And again, you can ask Mark if you want to know. And he's getting old. He may not even remember some of this stuff himself, but I remember all of this. Hey, Mark, remember the anatomically correct snowman? While we're on snow, remember throwing snowballs at people at the Mirror Lake Amphitheater, where we would lob them up high, they'd come straight down and splatter all around people, and they were getting really mad looking all around, and they didn't know where we were. Remember chasing male streakers across campus during the streaking craze back in the 70s, and wondering what we would have done had we caught one? How about that magical Canadian quarter and countless games of free foosball? Remember hitchhiking from Columbus to DeGraff when I had a love interest that turned out to be a big mistake in DeGraff, and you agreed to go with me? We hitchhiked from Columbus to DeGraff. It was nice weather when we left. We were wearing only windbreakers in mild weather. We made it to DeGraff. I spent about 15 minutes there, and we turned around to hitchhike back to Columbus at night. And the weather started getting nasty, cold, colder, coldest. We made it to Bellefontaine. We couldn't get a ride. We ended up spending the night in a laundromat in Bellefontaine. Police were involved. They stopped and asked us what we were doing in the all-night laundromat when nobody else was there in Bellefontaine, Ohio, with a raging cold storm outside. And they accepted our explanation. And next morning, we hitchhiked back to Columbus. It took us a long time. We were frozen to death. And we actually made the Bellefontaine Examiner. Our exploits that night they didn't arrest us or charge us or anything, but apparently the police reported it. We made the police logs, and the Examiner picked up on it, and they told about 2 OSU students found overnight sanctuary in the local laundromat from the winter storm after hitchhiking to DeGraff on a date. Okay, that was longer than I wanted it to be. I remember bitterly contested tennis matches with Mr. Davis, and he usually lost. So that brings up Wilson T2000 rackets, Mark, remember those? I remember you and I went to a Crosby, Stills and Nash concert. I don't know if that was the one I think it was in Cincinnati. And we were coming home. I'm notorious for falling asleep at night, even when driving. But Mark was driving, and I was sitting in the passenger seat, and I was sound asleep, having a dream. And I'd been asleep for a while, and Mark was driving, and everything was quiet. And I don't know what was happening in my dream, but all of a sudden I yelled, "Watch out!" And Mark almost drove off the road. You remember our New Year's Eve party on Collingdale? We played a lot of pool, here, there, and everywhere. Mickey's Old Timers Tavern. Remember beer. Lots and lots of beer. How about 19 pieces of pizza? I know you remember that one. How about 19 pieces of fish? I know you remember that one too. Remember doing Script, Ohio, on Neal Avenue, outside my apartment on Neal Avenue? Remember the party at our house in Bellefontaine? This needs a little bit of explanation. When I was senior in high school, and I think for a year after that, I worked weekends at Henkel's Donuts in Lima. And there was a woman there named, back then I was a kid and she was a girl there named Ellen. And my buddy Len from the lake, he and I worked together at Henkel's Donuts at the lake, but we also worked together at Lima on Saturday and Sunday mornings. And Ellen worked for us, so we were, again, this is another thing I'm ashamed to say, we were really nasty to her. We did things to her, just jokes to her that she did not find funny at all. Like we would, we had a big sign outside with letters you'd put up to advertise price of donuts and whatever. And we would go back and lay out letters on the floor, things we should have written on the floor, and then we'd say, "Hey Ellen, would you go back and get some aprons or something?" She'd go back there and we had written something on the floor, and she was really mad at us. She hated us, and we were hard to work with back then. But anyway, Mark and I met at OSU Lima, and we moved down to main campus the same quarter, and we said, when we get down there, we'll get together again. So we got together soon after. We're walking down High Street one day, and all of a sudden, there's a stream of people, and all of a sudden this girl stops and says, "Mark!" Mark says, "Ellie, how you doing?" And they hug, and he says, "How you doing?" And then Mark says, "Ellie, I'd like you to meet my friend, Rick." And she looks at me, recognizes me with daggers in her eyes. And that was a very awkward moment. Remember the party at your house in Worthington? I remember that one well. And speaking of that house in Worthington, where I think you still live, you got a great deal on that house, thanks to 3% to Coop, the best realtor you ever had. And I do apologize that there was no running water when I showed you the house, but it turned out to be a pretty good deal for you. Thinking all this time that Heather and Stephanie are his daughters. By the way, girls, thanks for the Father's Day cards again this year. Beer, lots and lots of beer. Places we used to go. The jury room. I'll throw that in randomly. Pharmacy class, Professor Gerald, and mice burning their little foot pads on the grill. The Blue Danube, Papa Joe's. 1431 Neal Avenue, you remember that place. How about Thurber Village? Costello's. That was Thurber Village, right? That's one of our many places where we had beer, lots and lots of beer. Remember going out for wings back when, before I became a vegan? Shout out, 5-second commercial, go vegan. Be kind to animals. Where I think they had like 50 levels, wherever we went, they had like 50 levels of hot sauce. Mr. Davis got like level 3, I got level 50. The penile bone of a walrus. I don't know if you want to explain that one or not. The penile bone of a walrus sounds like a answer to a TV quiz show. Remember my apartment on West 11th Avenue with the single light bulb shining naked in the night? Single light bulb shining naked in the night. Wow, that's not bad. I like that line. I might write a song about that.
Single light bulb shining, naked in the night.
Speaking of, when I was living there. I was separated from Linda number one, totally broke, living in that hellhole on West 11th Avenue. And this is about you, not me, so I won't go into all the horrible things involved in that place. But you helped me get a job at the welfare department downtown. It's either get a job there or go on welfare. And I had to walk from West 11th all the way downtown and back every day because my car wouldn't start and I had no money. But I thank you for that job. And I worked in the mezzanine between the first and second floors, and I was the only person on as a mailman. I delivered mail 4 times a day. The rest of the time was my own. And I sat there and I wrote songs all day. And I wrote some good songs I would have probably never written had you not gotten me that job. And I thank you for that. That's one of the nice things I'm going to say about you here. Beer, lots and lots of beer, except for the time when we finally became of age and could drink like men. And we went to this place downtown. We were 21 then, and we went into this real bar, not a kid's bar. And waitress came over, or barmaid came over, and an older lady, and she knew right away what she was dealing with. And what do you have, fellas? And we had already decided we were going to drink like men, and we ordered slow gin fizzes. That's enough about that. Beer, lots and lots of beer. I was a groomsman at your wedding. Jan married you, but knew that I was best man. I'm not sure how that works. Remember going to see the Aristocrats movie in Bexley when the yuppie couple got up and left after about 10 minutes? Back to Hinkle's, remember 1976 when you and the Lima gang came to Indian Lake, and I was working at Hinkle's and you all stopped in to say hello. The jury room. Remember going to the psychic in Cassadaga, not on your last trip when you were down here and went with Jen, but when you and I went, and we felt we each had the same psychic, and we felt that she was the real deal. And we both came away, and this is serious, we both came away with tears in our eyes and impressed by what she revealed about both of us. And Mark and I, we knew not to give away anything about ourselves. You know, a lot of fake psychics can get you to reveal something and they'll go with that. We were both very careful not to do that, and she revealed things that were, she was a real deal. Beer, lots and lots of beer. Deborah Herman. We went to that class, and I remember we wanted to meet Jeff Herman and get close to him, but we got close to Deborah that night, and how she saw the weird aura. How she kept focusing on me with the weird aura, and it kind of freaked me out. And speaking of weird, Jimmy, you need to tell that story. I'll give you the prompts. The door was unlocked. We heard the cart being pushed down the hall. Jimmy. I remember way back when, going to the underground, and someone was infatuated with Carol Jacob. Jan, that was not Mark. Okay, hey Mark. Don't walk. The light is red. Don't walk. The Venetian. The South Station Lounge. Dudley. I'll say that one again. Dudley. I remember you and Jan, your visits to our Florida homes in Mount Dora and Tavares, and I don't think Jan did. Jan, I don't think she made the house in Tavares. I don't think. I know you did. Going out on the boat, we had some good times on the boat. Remember seeing the eagle when you came down. Remember, Mark, this is just something an aside. This is not a story about Mark, really. It's just an aside. Mark would be pretty much up pretty much for anything, would go anywhere except for one place. The old, I think it's the Newport now, maybe even has a new name. I haven't been to Columbus for years, but back in the day when we were haunting, going to all the campus haunts and haunting campus, it was the Agora. And Mark would go anywhere except the Agora. It was the worst case of agoraphobia I've ever seen. And that was an example of why Mark loves me. Okay, we're winding down, and I'm sure you're bored if you're still with me. Here's another one. Don't explain this one. Baby raccoons. Shame on you. Baby raccoons. And now, drum roll, please. I'm sure I'm leaving out a whole bunch of stuff. But now it's time to get somewhat serious. And back to when Mark and Jan and the girls came down to visit us in Nashville, it would have been 79 or 80. And we'd been friends for a few years at that point. And I knew then we would be lifelong friends. Jan and I, not Mark. I took a while to know I'd be friends with Mark for life. And, you know, when prisoners get life, you know, it's kind of, I can relate to that. But anyway, when you were in Nashville, little did you or I realize what would bond us together for life. And that was the day, a few years later, after I'd moved back to Ohio, we got together and I said to you something to the effect, have you ever thought about writing a book? I may have said novel. And you said yes. And so, you all know this about Mark. When I wrote Family Reunion, he would bring me coffee and donuts. And that's weird because I never drank coffee, but I did eat the donuts. No, I'm just kidding. Family Reunion by Nicholas Sarrazin, our pseudonym, has bonded us. And from here on out, this is mostly going to be serious because I love this guy. But it bonded us in a way I've never... Now, I've had songwriting partners, George, Jeffrey, and I had a special relationship. John Schwab, McGuffey Lane, and I have written together for over 30 years, and we have a special relationship. But Mark and I not only have a special relationship, but we were bonded in a completely different way because we spent so much time together over the 7 years that we spent writing Family Reunion. And it was, try doing anything with this guy for 7 minutes, let alone 7 years, and you'll know what I had to put up with. But 7 wonderful and sometimes quite contentious years devoted to writing Family Reunion, for which I should have been knighted. Truly, can any of you imagine being around this guy day and night for 7 years? Oh yeah, Jan, never mind. I'm sorry, I'm not going there. But we started out writing Family Reunion. I think we started out, well, I think we typed it, wrote it out longhand, I don't know. We gave my nephew $3 a chapter, and that didn't last long. So we ended up getting Apple IIe computers. And we had pretty advanced computers for back in the day. And there were times we'd get our monitors set on my computer, set up 2 monitors, and it was really cool for the 80s. But we started out our house on Collingdale, and down in my lower level office, and we would write and debate and fight over words and go back and forth and back and forth and hammer this thing out. And we started out, we weren't good, right? Our initial drafts were not good, but I had an imagination and somewhat of a command of the language, and Mark had an imagination and a better command of the language of writing, of what constituted good writing. And so I kind of pulled him along on the creative part for a while, and he pulled me along on the how to write, like what's acceptable. It's not writing. I've been writing my entire life, so I could write, but not for publishable novel material. And he had read the books, and he knew, yeah, this is, don't break this rule, don't break this rule, you have to do this. And he knew all that. And so he pulled me along that way. And then over the course of 7 years, we just had it, and we did it. So there's so many memories, and I could spend days going over all of our experiences, but I won't. But I will do things like kukri, and of course, kukri neck. OTMFD. I'll let you explain that one. I remember when we were still on Collingdale, we'd take breaks, and I would still be thinking about the book, and you would go up and ogle the teenage girls sunbathing across the street, which I never did, of course. Beer, lots and lots of beer. And then we moved to Knox County, 12 acres in Knox County, and Mark would come out there, and we would write and write and write. And there was one, toward the end, we just knew we had to wrap this book up. So he came over after 7 years. He came over on a Friday night, and we started from Friday and worked Friday night to Sunday night, and took cat naps, like 30 minutes. We couldn't go any longer. We'd sleep for 30 minutes, wake up, and write again to get this book finished. And Linda would, bless her, anything we wanted to eat, drink, she fed us. We ate like pigs, which Mark still does. But we ate like pigs from Friday to Sunday. And we just slept, and then we were in our chairs working. And I lost, I think it was like 6 pounds. I lost 5 or 6 pounds, maybe 5 to 7 pounds, despite eating constantly junk food. And that's what energy it took to finish that book and just push ourselves. And Mark probably gained 5 or 6 pounds, but that was just one example of the effort that we put into that book. And we were sent it out, and we were rejected. And you probably know all those stories, and I won't go into them. And if you don't know them, Mark will tell you, and he'll take full credit. But I was a part of it. But I remember the day I called Mark. I don't remember where he was. I called him, and I said, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Oh, skipping. We got an agent. We got a publisher. We got a deal. And he can tell you all about that if you don't know the story. So we knew where our book was going to be published by Pinnacle. And I remember one day I called Mark and I said, whatever, I don't know what you're doing, whatever you're doing, drop it. Linda and I are going to Chi-Chi's. Meet us there as quickly as you can get there. And he did. He trusted me, okay, this must be important. He walks in, sits down, ordered drinks, pulled out this envelope. Pinnacle had sent us 25 or 30 flats. They were the cover of our book, but completely flat, just so we could see what it would look like. and I probably started crying. Mark probably started crying. I mean, it was just an incredible moment after all that effort and all those years to not only know that we were going to be published, but to see what would be the cover of our book. It was a very, very special moment. Remember our first signing at Foul Play, August the 11th, 1990. Remember our book signings in Lima and in Covington, Kentucky. Great times. And I'm going to show you how much I love this guy. One of my walls here is pretty much devoted to Family Reunion. I've written some other things, not as much as Mark. Mark is, I'm sure you know about all of his scholarly work, which blows me away, how successful he's been and continues to be. And real quickly, somebody said, Mark and I have actually started working together on other novels, and I even started working on his dictionary of, I've got his book, his crime dictionary, and every time I start and I can't do this. I can't do this. So Jan, I know what you've gone through all these years. Love you, brother, but can't go back there. But anyway, one of my walls is devoted to writing, and most of it is Family Reunion and the honoree of this birthday celebration, Mr. Mark Davis. And I'll show you that. I'll take photos or a short video, and I'll show you that. But to close here, one other thing, and this is a writing project. Time for a commercial. This is my latest book. Has my lyrics, short stories, and poems. If you'd like a copy, Mark will tell you how to get in touch with me. But that's not why I'm saying this. Is in this I have not all the songs I've written, but many of the songs I've written, and I have Mark wrote the foreword, which a wonderful foreword, and I greatly appreciate that. And then I list thank yous, and I thank Mark. I said my oldest and dearest friend, partner in nefarious adventures, of which you've heard a few, and co-author of our suspense novel Family Reunion. Well, he doesn't know this. I'm going to do an updated version of this book this year, soon. And in it, I'm going to add one more song because Mark and Tony Taylor, you remember Tony Taylor? Mark and Tony and I, Mark and I and Tony got together one night. It was not that night, it was another night. And Tony was a guitar player. Mark's a great guitar player. And Mark's a singer. And we decided to write a song together. I'm just a lyricist. We decided to write a song together, and we did. It's called I'm Gone. And it didn't make this, we never recorded it, and I had sort of forgotten it through the years because, again, it wasn't on, I never pitched it. It was something we just did for fun. But I came across this and I sent it to Mark, and I've been thinking about, that was a song that Mark and Tony and I wrote. And so it's going to make the next edition of my book. So you're not famous yet, bro, but you will be someday. So anyway, enough about this. I wish I could have been there. Stephanie will tell you a couple of reasons that I was not able to come. But I'm certainly there in spirit, and I love the extended Davis family. I'm gonna cry. I love you, bro. Happy birthday. Do you think he bought that? Do you think he really bought that?
Mark Davis, Tony Taylor here. Happy 70th birthday. Now, you and I have something in common with the kidney transplants. Yours has lasted a lot longer than mine has, but we are both still fortunate to be alive and moving at this time and place in the world. I say fortunate not so much because of the transplant issues, but because we've both been friends with Rick Cooper for a large part of our lives, and that should have killed us a long time ago. But frankly, there are times when I see his puns on Facebook that I wish it had. But it has not. So I am here once again to wish you a happy birthday. Hope it's a good one, my friend. Be well.
Working all these bitter years and what's it done for me? Nothing much, just kids and such mediocrity. Until the day my friend dropped by, a pistol by his side. Twice as old and half as bold and anger in his eyes. And we're gone, gone, gone. He said, you're looking older too and not a dime to show. So let's take these guns and live it up before time to go. We might not strike it rich, my friend, but let's give it a try. Life owes us one successful job at least before we die. And we're gone, gone, gone. Some people say that crime don't pay, you know they may be right. But I know what we did and that we got away that night. If I never see that man again, at least I'm gonna know I've been out to the edge and back just once before I go. I was